Now you look back at Cap's recent history with a 2-0 series lead, we all know the numbers, and the numbers are not good. But the Caps are hoping to use all this emotion early on in this game and flip the script on the Rangers. That was the 37-year-old Tiger Woods, who's a little retrospective now, who hasn't won in some while. The 27-year-old Tiger Woods would have never, ever said, oh, 5 wins on tour, that's good, that's important, and that's a good season. It was all about the majors. Jill, if you're asking me, I think we in the media, once again, have created a firestorm like we have with almost every single thing that's happened in the life of Robert Griffin III. Look, is there something maybe brewing between these two very strong-willed, powerful men in the National Football League? Maybe. The O's are now a season-high 11 games over 500 as they head to Toronto tomorrow. The probable pitchers for the Blue Jays over the weekend, Dickey, Wong, and Johnson. Could be some stiff competition.
Stop it.
Live from New Orleans, it's Saturday night. Our week-long marathon coverage of Super Bowl 47 is almost over. I know Carl Alsmer before the playoffs said the only way to prove you can win the Cup is to win the Cup, and the Caps fall short, losing in the first round in a 7-game series in which they led 2-0 and led 3 games to 2. Disappointing way for them to go out. And what they understand is that tonight, although it is their first football game in the National Football League, it's not the realization of all their childhood dreams. Tonight, this is just another step in still chasing that ultimate dream. We've got the Timbers Army behind us. They are desperate for something to cheer for after 5 straight losses. What do you expect to see out of Portland tonight? So I want to preface what I'm about to say with this reminder. Robert is not going to play in any preseason game. Let's get that out there. The hope is for September 9th. Having said that, Tarek, you look pretty good out there tonight. Football practice at Gonzaga. It's just like thousands of other practices around the country.
Let's go play the ball, guys. Good job, Miles. Good, good. That's how you do it, Nate. Hey, that's perfect.
Coaches barking out orders to players who dream of one day playing in the NFL.
Good come behind. Good come behind.
The difference here is that one of the coaches has that same dream.
You know, you want to have those positive thoughts about returning to the field and getting back to playing the game you love and being with those guys in the locker room.
Almost a year after being suspended from the NFL for violating the substance abuse policy, Tenard Jackson is coaching at Gonzaga while he waits for the NFL to hear his appeal for reinstatement. It's already his 2nd year-long suspension.
Just take us back to last year. Obviously, you've had the 2 strikes against you, and you get that phone call. What went through your mind?
A lot. I mean, obviously hurt, disappointment, embarrassment. I mean, I could go on. I could go on, but I mean, it was definitely difficult. I mean, just from the standpoint of not being able to play in my hometown, team I grew up watching.
Jackson was a Redskins fan growing up in Silver Spring. Came home to wear the burgundy and gold last year after 5 seasons in Tampa. But his demons followed. At 28, he's now robbed himself of 40 games in his career, almost as many as he's played.
This wasn't my first rodeo. so you know, the times before where I was suspended, I was a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, and a little, well, I could say immature. When this happened this last time at 27, 28 now, with a father of 2, you know, things start to, you know, they start to click, and I can't afford that. I can't afford to put other people through that again, and you know, that's behind me.
Your first step still was here. It should be straight down the line. Yeah. You got it?
And then close it.
And then close. We'll get it. We'll get it.
As he works to keep his problems in the past, Tenard helps kids focus on their future. Aaron Brady is the head coach of the Purple Eagles, and he knew right away that Jackson was a perfect fit on his staff.
He's a great teacher. He's a quiet teacher, but he's really, I mean, the kids really have taken to him in his time here at Gonzaga. He's been incredibly helpful to our staff. You know, coming in, we had no idea, you know, what he was going to be like and how he'd be with the kids, and he's been absolutely wonderful.
These are the type of backs we're going to face, especially you. Just got to improve, keep improving, all right?
What's often lost in stories like this, especially with athletes, is it's not just one person's struggle. Virtually all of Tenard's family is from the D.C. area, and his mom has to come here to work or be around town constantly answering questions about her son.
I was embarrassed for him, you know, how people were going to perceive him, how he was going to be talked about, and that hurt. You know, I didn't want to face anyone because I knew that people were going to ask a lot of questions. I wasn't ready for the questions, so it was very difficult.
Tiffany Harding is Tenard's mom. She works in Rockville, in Redskins country, and everyone knows about her baby boy, the good and the bad.
Never wanted his identity, his struggles to be his identity. And, you know, I just hope that I do see growth in him, and I hope that he is a better man from this past experience.
Let's go, next.
Let's go, Barry.
Tenard himself says he is a much better man, but still a work in progress. In April, Jim Haslett said the Skins would welcome Jackson back with open arms. That's how it works out. So ironically, as he's now helping inspire these kids as a coach, it was his coach's words that helped him believe.
When I heard that comment from Haslett, it struck a nerve, and it made me realize what I'm supposed to be doing out here, and that's playing football and playing the game I love.
And Rob Carlin rejoins us now from Raymond James Stadium. And Rob, he's 28 years old, hasn't played. He missed all of the OTAs and practices. Is he in shape, and how fast can he be ready?
Well, look, we all know there's being in shape and then there's being in game shape. All I could tell you is the last time this happened when he was playing for the Bucs was 2011. He was reinstated on a Tuesday. He played that Sunday against New Orleans and had an interception. Then played again the following week against Chicago in London, had another interception in that game. He said after that, the hamstring started burning a lot. He was playing completely on adrenaline for those first 2 weeks. So here's a guy who's been working out. We'll see how quickly, if he gets reinstated, he can get back on the field. But history says he can do it pretty quickly.
Yeah, in 2 days, he'll be eligible.
The tiny rural town of Tangipahoa, Louisiana, is about 70 miles north of New Orleans, but it feels like a world away. Overwhelmed with poverty, it's also home to former Ravens star Michael Jackson.
When you go home, you're just whatever they called you there. Mike is what I'm more so around here. And I'm like, man, I am almost 50 years old and I'm still being called Mike.
He may be Mike to his friends, but for the last 4 years, he was Mr. Mayor to the residents. He ran for office to make a difference, something more than just writing checks and making donations.
I wanted to help people, and I didn't want to continually dig into my pocket and put money into a pit, knowing that it wasn't going to be enough to dig us out. And so I asked the people if they would give me the opportunity to act on behalf of them.
Thank you, babe.
For the last 4 years, he tried to negotiate his way through the tangled web of politics and help the people he's known his whole life. But this isn't easy, and he was recently voted out of office. So he'll keep fighting the fight, now as a concerned citizen.
I was beat down. I was beat down by the lack of understanding. I was beat down by the lack of desire to do things the way that it needs to be done in order to grow.
Being the mayor of this small town, his hometown, has been humbling for this former NFL star, and Mike admits he does miss being around the guys. But as we started taking a trip down memory lane, you could literally hear the competitive juices start flowing again.
And that's not Anquan Bolden.
That's the original 81.
That's the original 81. That's the original 81. That if I were to be talking to Ray Lewis today, that's what he called me. I don't think he know my name anymore.
Really?
Because all he's going to say is 8-1.
You guys put up some numbers. You, Derek Alexander, Vinny Testaverde. Do you wish that offense had the Raven defense?
Or do the Ravens defense wish they had that offense? Nah, that was so Michael Jackson.
Jackson once led the league in touchdowns with 14, and he honestly believes that offense, with this defense, would have been dominant.
If we had the defense that the Ravens have had over the past 10 years, then I think we probably would be compared to the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, San Francisco 49ers, those teams that had dynasties, New England Patriots. We would have been compared to those guys.
What a great guy. And we're looking at the trophy the Ravens said they wouldn't touch until they've earned it. Steve Bisciotti is hoping to get his hands on his first